Hey guys, welcome to lesson 1. This will be a really short and sweet lesson where I'm just going to walk you through the process and the steps to getting organized before we actually jump into setting up our first campaign. So these are the general steps that I want you to follow, and I actually want you to go ahead and do these steps right now. So step number 1, I want you guys to go ahead and just pick one product or service, depending on what your business is or your client's business. Pick one product or service from that business that is the most profitable, or the one that you want to focus on the very most. Like you really need a lot more of that product sold, or you need, a specific type of service. But I just want you to start simple and just pick one specific thing. It can't be an entire area that has a whole bunch of little areas underneath. It can be, but then your first campaign setup might be a little bit more complex. So I just want you to really focus on one thing that you can master and walk through this whole process with me so that you can come out at the end with something actually completed. And the next thing after you pick your product or service that you're going to focus on for this campaign, I want you to just choose some keywords. Now you don't have to worry right now about are they the right keywords or what are all the different possible combinations or variations. I just want you to pick one or two, and it's probably going to be just what your product is or what your service is. So just have that in mind before we move on to the next step. The next thing I want you to be thinking of and have written down, just jot it down somewhere, just all of these steps, is where are you going to send the traffic for these ads. So once you pick your product and you know exactly what generally you're focusing on, where are you going to send those people? And don't worry if you don't have a perfect landing page right now, because we are going to be spending an entire week later in this course learning about how to set up a really amazing landing page. But for right now, I just want you to have a relevant page that talks about that specific product or service. So most likely you're going to go to your website and you're going to find the page on your website that talks specifically about that product or service. Now, if you don't have one, then you're going to have to create one for the purposes of this campaign, because you do have to have a landing page URL. Worst case scenario, you can send them to your home page for now until we get to the module where we're talking about how to build your landing page, how to set it up the correct way for an AdWords campaign. So for right now, just make sure you know where you're sending your traffic. And then finally, we are going to walk through this final step together, so don't worry. We're going to start our keyword research, but I just want you to have those first 3 things done, just written down, jotted down. Make sure you know what those are before we move into the keyword research phase. All right, and I just wanted to throw this in here real quick, because this is our process that we follow at our agency when we're getting organized and getting ready to do the campaign setup process. Now, I don't want you to think that you have to do it this way, because most of you guys, you might just be a single person who's working on this. You may have a team, you may work with a marketing department, you may not be the one that writes copy, you might have an agency, you might have a team. No matter what your situation is, it may be a little bit different, but I do want you to know what we do as an agency in case it's helpful. But for many of you, I just want you to focus on walking through these steps on your own so that you fully understand every single step. And then gradually, if you are a growing business, if you are a freelancer, a consultant, no matter what your position is, eventually you may want to get to a point where you have different people doing different components of the process. So that's why I wanted to share this with you at this stage. So the first thing that we do is we plan out our keywords that we're going to focus on based on the client's goals. So that's what we do as a business. So if you are a business owner or you work for a business, you're just going to need to talk to someone who knows, or if you're the business owner, I hope you already know these things. But work backwards from, okay, what are our primary business goals? And then start working backwards from there to identify how AdWords can help best support those overall business goals. So once we have a good handle on that, then we start diving into keyword research, because now we have a good idea of exactly what it is that we're focusing on and targeting, and what type of campaigns we need to be running. So we do keyword research and we come up with really specific target keywords, and we start organizing our campaigns and ad groups into a very specific hierarchical structure. And so I'm going to actually walk through this whole process with you, so don't worry, I'm not going to glaze over it, but I'm just giving you an overview of how we do it. And once we do that, we actually do that whole process in a Google spreadsheet. And it's a Google Sheets document so that all of our whole entire team can be present in the Google Doc, at the same time. And so we're not saving documents and sharing. But we add our keywords to the spreadsheet and we organize them, like I just said, and then our copywriter goes in and actually fills in the blanks with ad copy and descriptions and just great copy for all the different parts that we need. And then at that point, it's handed over to one of our AdWords specialists who actually goes through the campaign setup process. So really we have a different expert on our team for different stages. If we're doing display ads, we have a designer who creates these display ads. And then our AdWords specialist goes through the setup process. So I just wanted to share that process with you so that if you are working as part of a team, you could share this with them and get them involved and say, hey, can you help out with this part of it? If you want to hire a copywriter, or whatever you want to do, it's really up to you. But I just wanted to share that part with you. All right, so now we're actually going to jump in and we're going to learn how to use Google Keyword Planner, since that is really the biggest part of this sort of organization and preparation stage. So next up in lesson 2, I am going to show you guys how to use the Keyword Planner. So I'll see you in lesson 2.